the judge ruled that she would not grant an interim injunction, neither would she reinstate the employees as requested by the Labor Commissioner. Before giving very briefly the reasons why she reached that decision, I wish to point out that her judgment made it pellucidly clear that it was the Labor Commissioner who had waited until the last minute to rush to court to seek to stop the terminations after having sufficient notice of it. I say that simply because there has been a lot of back and forth as to whether the port tried to rush and act in an underhanded way and so on. So I think the judgment of the Supreme Court makes it absolutely clear that it was the Labor Commissioner and the Attorney General who waited to the last minute to rush to court. The reason why the injunction was not granted was because in the judgment of the Supreme Court, the applicants had waited too late, too long, and the terminations had already occurred. They had sufficient time to act, and the court would not make an order that it can't enforce. How can you give an order if they think to stop something which has already happened? On the order for reinstatement, for two reasons the judge said she could not grant that order. The first reason she said was that the court had no jurisdiction to do so. Basically, when you go to court to ask for a reinstatement, remember this is what's called an interim application. This isn't the substantive matter. You're saying, stop this thing until we can look into it. But to reinstate somebody is effectively to give the final decision. You can't do that at this stage. Importantly, the judge also pointed out that it wasn't the place of the Labor Commissioner to ask for reinstatement of employees. If employees have been wrongfully terminated, then they need to come and say, we wish to be reinstated. How it is that the Labor Commissioner, who is not a party to the contract between P.B.L. and the workers, they're not involved. You can't come and ask for that. So that was rather odd. So for those reasons, basically, the court said it had to dismiss the application in its entirety and order costs against the applicants, namely the Labor Commissioner and the Attorney General. On a final note, all that I'd like to say is there are ways of settling a dispute. If you say you're wrongfully terminated or your salary is wrongfully deducted, Belize has sophisticated labor laws, not only one, several pieces. They're very broad, they're very comprehensive. They lay out grievance mechanisms, they lay out recourse to the Labor Tribunal, recourse to the Labor Commissioner and recourse to labor tribunals. And if you're not happy with that, you come to the court. So everything will be settled in due course in the way the laws envision it to be.